Let's review the challenge. Question number 1, Peri Peri Shop. That was one of the most complicated questions in this exercise today. So enough change. Let's try to pay attention to the details of the problem. So imagine we got a list of coins. Yeah, this is the first argument of the list. And interestingly enough, the list of coins is sorted according, not sure if that's really well explained, but if you pay attention to the description at the bottom, it looks like the first coin is 20p, second coin is 10p, the third coin is 5p, and the fourth coin is 1p. Yeah, that's pretty much, as far as I know, that's pretty much the way it works. So we're going to see if by obviously adding all the coins or all the money associated to this number of coins, let's say, all the cash associated to this number of coins, if we can buy whatever is represented by the second argument. That's pretty much the idea. So let me create, first of all, let me set up the argument list. So first of all, I like to click coins, and then the second argument, represent the amount of change. Actually, instead of, let me call it coins, and then determine whether you are able to pay for a equivalent Happy Meal sterling pound. I don't know how to call the second argument, guys. Do you have any recommendation for the second argument? Price, okay, yeah, why not? Yeah, let's keep it simple. I like that. I like that. Cool, we got the price. By the way, guys, as you know, I think it's the first time we're using the new editor. Any feedback about it is welcome. It's supposed to be, well, it's not supposed to be. It is much more lightweight than the previous one. It's lacking some shortcuts like commenting, copying, and things like that. But hopefully, at some point in the future, we'll be able to incorporate them. Let me create, first of all, I want to create an array of coins value, something like that, because I want to associate the list of coins with the list of values. I think something like that. So the first one is 20p, the second one is, I'm thinking in sterling, it's 10p, third one is 5 cents, and the last one is 1 cent. I think something like that, if I'm right. So the idea is, first of all, I want to know how much do I have in my pocket. Yeah. So I want to loop through all the array of coins, and for each coin, I would like to calculate the actual value. So if I got one coin of 20p, so the value will be 0.2. If I got, 10 coins of 20p, the value associated to that index will be 2. Yeah? So I want to iterate over all the list of coins, and I then would like to calculate the total money, the total cash I have associated to that index. So let me use reduce, coins.reduce, because I want to iterate, and at the same time I want to add. Yeah, so I want to transform. I could use map. Yeah, I could use map to transform the list of coins into actual cash, but I would like to use reduce because then I can combine both iterations at the same time, multiplying and then adding to the total. So coins.reduce. Now this is the accumulator. Remember the first argument, guys. The second argument is, the coin itself, whatever it is. And then we will probably need the index. I'll come back to that point in a minute. So the idea is, let me present you an example here, guys. If coins equals 3102, the idea is to do to multiply 3 by 0.2 plus 1 by 0.1 plus 0 by 0.05 plus 2 by 0.01. That's the total cash I have in my pocket. Guys, does that make sense? Do you have any questions so far about my approach? Yeah. So that will give me the total. For instance, 14. Yeah, 14.4. So then obviously I need to check if that number is greater or less than the price. Yeah. That's pretty much the idea. So, do we need any default value for the accumulator? I think so, right? Let's leave it at 0 because, you know, by default I got 0 coins or 0 cash. So now, before I forget, let me return the total, and now that's the tricky part. That's the tricky part. So for each element on the list, for each coin, can anyone tell me how to calculate the total associated to the first index of the array? So total equals total plus what? Can anyone complete this line for me? Yep. Brilliant. That's perfect, Adam. That's fantastic. That's fantastic. That's exactly what I wanted. Yeah, because I'm using the accumulator. I want to accumulate all my cash. On the first iteration, coin will be, in this example, will be 3. Yeah. Coin's value on that index will be 0.2. So I'm essentially multiplying 0.2 by 3, which will give me 0.6. Yeah. So that's the way I can get all the total I have on my pocket. So that's the idea. And now the point is, essentially, I want to check if total is greater or equal than the price. Would that work? What do you think? Exactly. Sorry, someone is connecting. Yes, so Ian, I think that was Ian. Ian is right. So that won't work. That won't work because total. So imagine the total is 19, and imagine that price equals 15. If that was the case, that's fine. However, if you pay attention, guys, the second argument, the price, is a string. And to make it more complicated, it's not just a string, it's a string with a sterling symbol in front of it. In other words, we need to remove the sterling symbol and we need to transform the string representing a number into a pure number. So any idea, guys, about how to remove the sterling symbol? I like that. Fantastic, Adam. Fantastic. So we can do price dot slice 1. So that will essentially, if I get a string with sterling 15, that will remove one character. Yeah, so that will remove the first character, which is the sterling symbol, which is what we want. And now to transform it to a number, you can either use number, or you can, you know the alternative, guys, instead of using number? Plus. Fantastic. Plus. Yeah? That's it. Technically speaking, I don't really think we need to transform it to a number because JavaScript is smart enough to compare numbers and strings. But just trying to build thinking on readability, I think is very healthy to compare numbers versus numbers. All right, let's see if that works. That's it. We got confetti time. So that's pretty much what we wanted. Any questions, guys? Anyone else apart from Ian? You see, let me have a look to your approaches. So Ian, he's following a different. I mean, obviously the process is the same, but the implementation details are slightly different because he's not using reduce. You see, so he's manually iterating through each element on the list, which is fine. I find this approach a bit more manual, if you want. Also, at the end of the day, he needs to divide by 100 because he's thinking on sterling, yeah, on whole units rather than decimals or pennies, as I did, right? But yeah, all good apart from that. Pretty much the same thing for Adam, I'm not sure. I have a question for Adam. What's the 25 on the left? But do we have any coins of 25 pence? uh, uh, yeah. I mean, the point is, so Adam, yeah, Adam has a money making machine at home, probably with his face in one of the sides of the coin. So yeah, so you're right, Adam. That works, but it works out of, you were lucky here. I mean, it works because of this use case scenario, right? That may not work, as you can imagine, as soon as the data changes a bit. Yeah? Cool. Ebrima, pretty much the same thing as Adam and Ian. Ebrima should look after weird spacing. You see, two spaces on the right hand side sometimes, not at the end, but so a weird space on the left and not on the right. So consistency, guys. Make sure you pay attention to these details. Cool. Anything else, guys? Question number 1. No? All right. Let me share the snippet on Slack in case you want to have a look. And now let's move to question number 2. So, that question was a bit tricky. I think, to me, the main complexity of this question is try to understand what the hell is expected to happen here. Because I find this question very complicated. Maybe it's a personal thing. Complicated to understand from a human point of view. Once you realize, oh, that's what they want to build, then the solution is fairly simple. So we got an array, right? It's a single argument of an array of strings, Christmas gifts or whatever. Yeah. The idea is we want to return a string with the first 2 elements of the array, paints and puzzle. Yeah. All the remaining elements should be separated by a comma. In other words, in this weird list, we have some sort of a list of 3 elements, 1, 2, and 3, separated by a colon. Yeah, 1, 2, and 3. The first element on the output is the first element on the input. The second element on the output is the second element on the input, and the third element of the output is whatever else we have on the input. Yeah? That's the most complicated thing on this exercise to me, to understand what the hell is expected to happen here. I think this is a very interesting question. It's one of the newest questions we've added to the backlog, because in here, if you use the structuring in an efficient way, you can solve the problem very quickly. Look, the exercise is inviting us to use an argument called presents. However, look at what I'm doing, guys. I'm destructuring the array in the following way. I want to save present 1, I want to save present 2, and I want to save other presents. You see? So other presents will be an array with the remaining presents on the right hand side. So now look at how simple the solution is using a string interpolation. Present 1, space, colon, space, present 2, space, colon, space, and then, because that's an array, and I don't want an array, I want to comma separate the string, I can do other presents dot join something like that, and that should be it. One line. Yeah. What do you think, guys? Will this work? Say it again, Dan. Sorry. Yeah. Well, let's see if it works. First of all, yeah, it does work. Yeah. That's actually, I agree with you, Dan. That's easier than I thought as well. The first time I deal with the issue. Obviously, that's not the only way you can solve it. You can use the presents variable, and then you can, you can play with the array, get the first element, get the second element, whatever. Yeah. But yeah, I think that's super easy. That's super easy. another great example of how the REST operator has simplified the process of dealing with similar issues. Let me have a look to your code. So you see, so what Ian did pretty much the same thing, but rather than destructuring the argument, you see, so what he did is he used the argument and then he destructured it using 3 different variables, and then he just did essentially the same thing. Okay? You see, so he manually tried to access the first argument, then he tried to access the second argument, and then he tried to access the rest. How can we solve the problem, guys? Imagine that I want to stick to the actual, let me share that code on the Slack. And then I will try to solve the problem following Dan's approach. So let me paste what he did. So you see, so he's saving the first present. Oh, sorry, fine. He's saving the second present, fine. And here's where the problem starts. Remaining present. That's not correct. That's not correct. Something we could do here then is, at this stage, to me, probably the easiest thing to do is doing presents.slice2. Like, hey, remove every other present. Yeah, remove the first 2 presents. So then this is an array with the remaining presents. So now, because I got an array of remaining presents, I can do the same thing. Can join, exactly. See if it works. Exactly, that works. So that will be the alternative solution without using the REST operator. Interesting. Thank you, Dan. Very, very interesting approach indeed. Anyone else? Let me have a look. Yeah. So Adam, you see, Adam did pretty much the same thing as Ian. Good stuff. And Minji, the same thing. Can anyone see where Minji got a silly elegance warning? The dollar sign. What with no? Oh no! I wasn't. You're thinking about string interpolation. No, that's fine. So as you can see, for instance, if you compare Adam with Minji, so Adam and actually I think everybody else uses string interpolation. However, Minji did something different, which is she's using join. So that's absolutely fine, Minji. I have literally no complaints about that. I think that's perfect. The only thing is that's not going to throw. Exactly. Pano, semicolon line number 2. Yeah, you see? Present. It's something silly. It's a silly detail. Cool. Brilliant, guys. I love the question. Any comments? Any questions? I will share it. No, actually, I'm not going to share that. You got how to do it. Oh, that was a tricky one. That was a very tricky one. Get the last day of the month. I hate that question. I don't know why. It's and you know, I'll tell you something. When you see the solution, it's something that you don't naturally come across. To be honest, I think you are gonna like the solution, but I don't know. I'm biased. I'm biased about this question because I like the solution, but I don't like the question. Not sure if that makes any sense. Anyway, get the last day of the month. We have 2 arguments: the month and the year. Okay, so first things first, right? First argument, month, second argument, year. Fantastic. Here is where we can enjoy the pain of one of the biggest oddities of JavaScript. You know that, guys, when talking about days of the month, if I ask you in JavaScript, what's the first day of every month? What will you tell me? The number associated to the first day of a month. That's 1. That's correct. Yeah, it's 1. But then if I ask you, what's the first month of a year in JavaScript? That's correct. It's 0. You see? That's absolutely weird. Why is that? I have no idea. Yeah. To me, that doesn't make any sense. Why do we start counting days from 1, but we start counting months from 0? Mind blowing. But anyway, that's JavaScript, guys. So, first of all, the exercise is expected to return an the day of the week, Monday, Tuesday, whatever. So JavaScript doesn't have any built-in mechanism to easily return the month of the year, sorry, the day of the week, because first of all, that will be location dependent or even language dependent. And JavaScript doesn't go that far. JavaScript has nothing to do with languages and dialects and things like that, right? So we need to build it by ourselves. Another interesting thing is there is a method in JavaScript called let me show you. So in JavaScript, if you got a date object, you got the method called getDay. So getDay will return a number between 0 and 6, representing the days of the week. Yeah? Every week has 7 days. So, that thanks to that index, we should be able to determine the eventual day as a string. However, do you know, guys, what day is associated to index 0 in JavaScript? Hello? No, that's wrong. That's wrong. It's Sunday, guys. It's Sunday because this is an American format. I said Sunday. Sorry, Minji. I understood Monday. Sorry about that. Yes, so then you are right, Minji. It's Sunday. Yeah, it's Sunday. So I'm gonna create an array of days, and then I'll do Sunday, starting from Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And because I don't want to get any warning on the length of the line, I will separate it and something like that. Yeah. And now day.getDay, that will return 0, 1, 2, 3, whatever. So eventually I can do return days of, yep, I can do that. But now the obvious question is, how do we build a date? That's the problem, right? What date are we looking for? You know that in JavaScript we can build a new date object with the year, the month, and the day. But the question is, hey, what should we pass here? Because we want the last day of a month. Unfortunately, every month may have a different number of days. I cannot hard code it to 31. Yeah? That's obviously wrong, or 30. Not even 29 or 28. So we got 4 different alternatives. And this is where the tricky part of the exercise is. I'll show you my approach. The approach is very pragmatic. I don't know how many days the current month has. However, look at this beautiful trick. I'm going to do something. I'm going to reverse it. Can I reverse what? Yes. Somehow, yes. That's what I want to do. My idea is I want to check the day, the previous day of the next month, if that makes any sense. Because I don't know how many days every month has, but I know the first day of every month. So look, go to the next month and give me day 0. Because in JavaScript, days start at 1. Yeah? So 1 will tell me the first day of the next month. However, if I put 0, that will tell me the last day of the previous month. Yeah, because I'm moving the cursor to the next month. The previous day of the next month is the last day of the current month. Does it make sense? Yeah, so if imagine that, so now it's April, right? So it's 2020, 15, something like that in American format. So if I want to know what's the last day of April, I know January, February, March, April. I know in reality it's 30. But if I change the day to something, I don't want to check month by month. I could check month by month if month equals January, then 31, March, 31. But then we got an issue with February, right? February sometimes 28. Okay, we could check if it's a lap year. No, so because there is an algorithm to check if it's a lap year, if it's divisible by 4, there is some rules, right? So we could do that, definitely. We could go through a long and painful journey. However, this solution is way more pragmatic. Why? Because if I want to check what's the last day of April, how many days April has, what I will do is, all right, point to the same year, 2020, day 0, and month, the next month. That's essentially the date I'm trying to. Oh, sorry, the date I'm trying to build. Yeah, year 2020. Actually, that date. Sorry, the date format is a bit exceptional. That's wrong. Sorry, guys. Let me rebuild that. Year, month, and day. Yeah, I think that's a bit easier to read. So year, and then month, and then day. That's what I'm trying to build. You see, I'm trying to go to the next month. Instead of April will be May. And then I'm asking JavaScript, hey, please, give me what's the day associated to the 0 of May. And JavaScript will say, well, the 0 of May, that doesn't make any sense. The 0 of May in reality is the last of April. So JavaScript will essentially automatically return that. Which is what I want. That's exactly what I want, because I'm indirectly getting the 31. And because I get the 31, get day will tell me whether that's a Monday, Tuesday, Friday, or whatever. Let's see if it works. I hope that works. Let's run it. Here you go. Confetti time. Yep. Any questions, guys? That's a good question. I think so. So the way to prove it is if I remove another day, so if I put -1, in theory that should return Saturday, right? On the first case. If the last day of, if the last day in September of 2021 is Sunday, the previous day should be Saturday. Obviously, that's not going to work. That's correct. You see? So yeah, you can definitely go back. And guys, the same thing applies with the month. What happened in December? Eventually, if we're in December, if we want to check the next month, which is index 12, and that doesn't exist in JavaScript because month indexes start at 0 and then at 11, JavaScript will be smart enough to jump to the next year. So yeah, you can definitely play around that idea because JavaScript is powerful enough to understand the boundaries of every day, week, month, year, etc. Any questions, guys? No? All right. So, weekdays, I get day. That's interesting. Why you think you cheated, Ian? So I didn't even pay attention. Oh, whoa. That's wrong. That's massively wrong. That doesn't make any sense. That makes sense. I was working on that bit, and I see how the hell that works. All right, I'm just gonna ignore it then. Yeah, you see, so Dan did the same thing. So that's perfect. Dan just once again try to look after the indentation. You see, because that's a bit messy. You start in one line, then you move to a new line. So try to. I see. Yeah. I think guys, even though that's very weird. I'm not going to tell you, oh, that sounds very natural. I think that's a relatively common pattern across many different programming languages. So yeah, and yeah, Adam went through the long way trying to deal with the problem. So yeah. Anything else, guys? No? Okay, you got the solution on Slack. Question number 4. That was easy, right? Again, the REST operator, but that was much easier. So how many arguments our function receive? Wrong? Not necessary. We don't know, exactly, we don't know. At least two, but on the first use case scenario, we got 5 arguments. On the second one, we got 3. We don't know. Because we don't know, it's a fantastic opportunity to gather all the scores using the rest parameter. So now the idea is to display a message. The message is the average score for is the average score for name. Oh, what's going on? Name is, and now that's a tricky part. Yeah, we need to calculate the average score of a given player, user, whatever. So my idea is I'm gonna delegate that responsibility into a new function. So let me create a new method called getAverage, passing the list of scores. And now getAverage, I can use reduce to easily get the average out of a list of scores. You can get the total if you want and then divide it by, so you can do return or click the variable total equal scores dot reduce total score, and then you can do total plus score, yeah, and then you can simply return total divided by scores dot length. If you want, you can do that. Probably that's the most reasonable approach. And then one more thing, because if you pay attention, maybe calculate the rounded average. So we need to round the result. That should be it. I did something massively wrong. Get average scores that reduce. Oh, missing. You see, guys, I missed the arrow function. Sorry about that. And then that's pretty much it. So that was pretty simple, I guess, right? You see, to me, the important thing here is to delegate. Remember, guys, the functions you create, the smaller, the shorter, the better. Any questions? Cool. I think that was probably the easiest question on this challenge. So interestingly enough, Ian, so he didn't create a function. However, he's using reduce to calculate the average. That's absolutely fine, guys. So what Ian did is scores.reduce. So we got the average, and then we got the score. I think you did a board challenge, if I'm correct, about a similar problem. And then you return average plus score divided by scores.length. Yeah? So in other words, if I got a list of 1, 2, and 3, the average is 2. Yeah, that's easy to follow. And how do we know that? Because either we did 1 plus 2 plus 3 equals 6, and then we divided 6 by the length, which is 3 equals 2, or we can, as Ian suggested, as I'm presenting you here at the bottom, you can do 1 divided by 3 plus 2 divided by 3 plus 3 divided by 3 equals 6/3, which is obviously 2. Yeah? So this is, basic maths about solving the same problem. It's probably smarter way, because if we do that, we don't have to first get the total and then get the average. You essentially solve two problems in one go. So yeah, that's very interesting, Ian. Actually, look, so then he had the total, and then he got the average. All good. Can anyone see where Dan got an elegance warning here? That's correct. That's correct, Pano. Semicolon on the last line. Eh? Yeah. I don't get, guys. How can you make all these mistakes? I mean, the elegance console is telling you explicitly, hey, Dan, there is a missing semicolon. Is that right? Yeah. Adam, so first of all, he got the total and then he divided it by the length to get the average. And then, oh, interesting. Can anyone see something a bit smelly on Adam's solution? Actually, the same thing for Ebrima. No, he has a default value, comma 0. Adam and Ebrima, they did something highly controversial. And if that was part of a job interview, I will clearly ask them about something I found a bit suspicious. Correct. Why math floor? It works. So once again, it works. But if you carefully check the instructions, we are not asking you to floor the results. We're asking you to round them. So we should definitely use math.round instead, as for instance, Minji did. Yeah, I think it's all good, guys. Not sure why you got these empty lines here, panels, all around. But yeah. Okay, if you don't know. Okay. Oh, that's a bit weird. Oh, what the hell is that? So that's weird. You don't have any, actually, you don't have it. Oh, no, yes, you do have. Sorry, ignore me. Yeah, you have a weird, I don't know what happened here, Panos. I don't know what happened. Anyway, let's try to get rid of the empty lines, right? They don't add any value. Cool, guys, last question. Higher order function, something I know you love. What's wrong? What is the same word now? Sorry, guys, I broke it. Oh, yeah, because I got the average, so then I need to return math.round average. Yep. Here you go. So, last question. Higher order function. That's the most difficult question we have about higher order functions. We have a higher order function, which is combine h of f. However, it's, we need to deal with two functions. One as an argument, the single argument is a function, and one as a return statement. You see, the combined h of f returns another function. So we know two things. The first thing we know is there is a function as argument. You can call it function, whatever, or arg function, I don't mind, yeah? And then that function returns another function. That's all we know. And then once we call that function, because like according to the exercise, we're invoking the return statement, then we need to return something. That's the tricky part. Yeah? So first of all, that return function has an argument, which is a number, 3, 7, 2, whatever. So let me pass an argument called n, for instance. And now the thing is, we got a number n, and we need to call the function doing something to return 15. So something I'm thinking about is what happens if I call the function and I call the function passing a number, for instance, number 5. So if I pass number 5, the function will return 5. So if I want to get 15, I can naturally multiply the result of calling that function by that number. 5, return 5, multiplied by 3 equals 15. So hopefully I can do something like that. You see? So I call the argument function passing a number 5. That's the first thing. And then the function will return 5. Fantastic. And with the result, so that returns 5, that returns 5, I multiply it by 3, and that will return 15. On the second use case scenario, again, n is 5. So I multiplied 2 by 5, so that the result of calling the argument function would give me 10. So then we multiply 10 by 7. 10, sorry, that's not 3. Sorry, that was n, obviously. Yeah, I had called it by accident. So we multiply the result of calling the function by the number that we received. Let's see what happened when we run that code. Look, the first two use cases scenarios are correct. However, the last one is wrong. And the reason why the last one is wrong is n is 5. So we got 5, and then we return 5 plus 3. That's 8. So the first bit is 8. And finally, we multiplied 8 by 2, which is 16, which is not correct. We don't want to return 16. We want to return 13. Can anyone tell me what the problem is? Multiply outside the callback. Okay, we'll have a look to your problem in a minute. I think the problem here is we are first of all calling the function, and then once we got the result, we multiply by n. However, in reality, look, we need to do it the other way around. We first multiply 5 by the number, and then we pass the result to the function. So look, we got the number 3. Let's multiply it by 5. 3 by 5 is 15. We pass it to the function, 15, return 15. On the second use case scenario, number 5. Let's multiply by 7. 7 by 5 is 35. We pass 35 to the function, and then we return 2 by 35, which is 70. And on the most controversial assertion, on the last one, we got number 5. 5 multiplied by 2 is 10. We pass 10 to the function. 10 plus 3 equals 13. In other words, if we run that code, it just works. You see, this is probably the most complicated question, considering how simple or how few characters we have to type, because it has few lines. Yeah. However, it's a bit hard to master. Questions, guys? Hello? Can we solve the problem, guys? Can we solve the problem in one line? How we do that, Panos? Return. Yep. Correct. That's correct, Panos. That's absolutely correct. You see, guys, line number 2 is equivalent to line numbers 3, 4, and 5. So if we run it, we still got confetti time, as you can see. Okay? So even simple, not sure if that's simple, guys. That's probably controversial. It's definitely less code. However, is it easier, harder to read? I don't know. That's a bit personal. So feel free to stick to your approach, guys. I'm not going to convince you to use one or the other. Whatever you feel more comfortable with. Yeah. All right, let me have a quick look to your solution. So you see that Ian, he's using, the second approach, the arrow function approach. Just remember, Ian, the parentheses are optional when you have a single argument. I'm not against using them. From a readability point of view, sometimes they help. Sometimes they help. So yeah, feel free to keep using them. Same thing for Dan. Yeah, all good. Arrow function one line. That's interesting, Adam. Even though the solution is wrong, at least he gave the feeling he has some basic understanding about how higher order functions work. Why? Because he understood that, we have an argument, the first one, which is a function. That's why he's invoking it. And the function returns another function. So he definitely got the basics of higher order functions. The main issue here is that num doesn't really make sense here, right? Because the combined age of a function only receive an argument. The second one doesn't really make sense here, I'm afraid. And then, Minji, Panos, and Ebrima, they all wrote pretty much the same example. Once again, Panos, let's try to remove the empty lines. Yeah? Cool. That was pretty much. Yes, please let me know if you found any issue, any type. Let me know, and I'll investigate it. All right, guys, that was pretty much it from my side. I've shared all the snippets we have generated over the last 45 minutes on Slack. Any questions? Any final notes about the challenge? Cool, fantastic. Thank you very much for your efforts once again. And last week on Monday, we'll run the last JavaScript challenge of the bootcamp. We'll re-enable the intermediate one. And then, Ian, if you want to try your luck on the advanced level, you'll be obviously more than welcome. Apart from that, thank you very much, guys, and see you later. Bye-bye.